with the squad. Got some training into him. And, he's obviously, we know all about him. He's an experienced guy. He knows what it takes, and looking forward to working with him.
And not just the experience of having played games, but the experience of having won promotions as well. How important is that? I mean, could he be a leader?
I think you're hoping so. But you never really know until they come into the building. That's certainly why we went for Chris over another couple of targets that we had. But we've signed some players in defensive positions that we thought would be leaders, and it's not turned out to be like that. So I'm certainly hoping Chris, with his CV and having one promotion, will turn out to be like that.
And obviously there's a battle on down the left-hand side now, presumably for him and Nathan McGinley. How well has Nathan actually done for you, playing in a different position to the one he played most of last season?
He's played a lot of games at left back, when he was at Middlesbrough and at Wycombe. He's done okay. We've not had a great run of form. We did okay last week. We should have won the game, but we conceded 2 poor goals defensively. So that's something that we need to put right.
Overall, though, last week a step in the right direction. Do you need to keep taking small steps in the right direction to sort of keep that progressing, rather than maybe giant strides, if you like?
I think that it's important that we had to get something last week, and it was important that the players didn't focus too much on the result. They focused on getting a performance individually and collectively to get that belief back, and that starts with working hard. And if we do that, we have got some quality. So they worked tremendously hard last week. They were committed to the cause, and we created some really good chances.
And belief and confidence, do they come back at different rates for different players? I imagine someone like Houdin Bailey, after that goal last week, is absolutely flying.
Yeah, the only way you get your confidence back is by winning games and playing well, or playing better than you have been. There's no medicine you can take, or amount of talking, or whatever you want. There's no other recipe for success for lack of confidence and belief than winning games.
But can one or two who've not lost that, can they sort of drag some of the others through?
That's what you're hoping. Like you say, you start with a point, and then you try and get another result, and try and get another one, and build a run. And before you know it, you're back. Everybody's feeling great.
Walsall have lost the last 3 after a pretty much improved run of form. How much better are they than they were, say, 3 or 4 months ago?
I think it's difficult to know what you're going to come up against, because the league is so up and down. You play a team one week that are supposedly struggling, and they play really well and turn you over, and then you play a team that are not going really well, and you turn them over. So it's everybody's beating everybody, and we've got to try and focus on ourselves. We've got to try and put a little run together.
Is it almost the footballing equivalent of musical chairs? Whoever's in the position when the music stops?
I think so. I think that'll continue right to the end of the season. So we've got to make sure we stay in and around it. If we can get to the last 5 games in with a shout, then we'll be okay.
Of 1 or 2 players who played in the trophy game at Walsall, might they have a point to prove if they're involved on Saturday?
No, it's a long way off. It was a totally different game. We played a young team, a really inexperienced team with a couple of first team players. So that should have no bearing on Saturday.
Joe Mills and Liam Shepherd obviously have been out injured. How are they progressing?
Slow. Shepherd will be, after his scan, he'll do well to play again this season, and Joe Mills is still another month away.
I mean, that's a real blow with Liam Shepherd, because you thought it would be a month, maybe 6 weeks tops, didn't you?
Yeah, he's had a scan. I think they're talking about 6 or 7 weeks from his scan, which was this week. So that takes you 10th, 15th of April, and then he's got to try and rehab after that. So it's a big ask for him, but if he can do it, I'm sure he will.
Away from this Saturday's game, or in terms of the on-the-pitch stuff, the FA's launched a heads-up campaign, which comes actually hot on the heels of the EFL's own campaign on mental health. How important is it that the issue keeps being talked about and stays in the spotlight?
I think we know more than most after what's happened here with Chris, that it's important that we're at the forefront of anything like that, and people need to keep talking and raising awareness.
I mean, football there in that way, I suppose, can take a lead, can't it? Because, it's something that almost has such a big influence on people's lives that if their football club's saying it, well, then they might take notice.
That's right. I think the industry that it is, football, it's can be a very tough industry, and people don't want to talk too much about problems and air what they're feeling. And I think this highlights the fact that that's the thing that they need to do.
Ironic, really, because fans, if they're frustrated, the referee, the players, whoever, they never have a problem expressing that emotion, do they?
No, but they pay their money, so they can do that.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Mark, how pleased are you to see George Williams back around the group, and are we likely to see him getting some game time soon?
I spoke to him this morning after training, and he's ready now. He came into the picture a couple of weeks ago, but he was basically filling the numbers on the bench. But now he's ready. He's ready to go onto the pitch now, in my opinion, and he's looking sharp.
And so for you, that's really like a January signing, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a good signing as well, because we know what he gave us in spells last year. If he can hit one of his runs where he's scoring goals, then anything can happen.
How pleased are you with Jack Aitchison? I mean, you took him out of the picture, gave him a bit of a rest. He really looked like he had the fire in his belly on Saturday at Walsall.
Yeah, I think it's important.
Grimsby even.
Yeah, young players, they want to play every game, and when you talk to them about them not playing a weekend, they think the whole world's falling apart, because that's what they want to do. But we left it a little bit too late because we didn't have the bodies, and we had to keep him in the team. But he needed to come out and he needed to rest, and I think you could see last week the benefit of that. And it's important that he's 19. He's played more football than anyone would have expected, and we have a duty of care to Celtic to make sure that we're looking after him.
He also looks like he has got an eye for goal. When he's a one-on-one, you look like you're going to back him to finish a lovely finish on Saturday.
Yeah, the forward players at the moment, like Odin and Jack and Marchie, Aaron Collins, they all look like they've got a goal in them. So that's what we need. That's why we've struggled. We've had probably 10 games where we've just not scored enough goals, and that's why we've found ourselves where we are, instead of being further up the table. So that at the minute, those boys are looking sharp, and they've all got a part to play. So they're working really hard, the players.
Yeah. How many times have you watched Bailey's goal? I guess he's watched it a few times as well.
Yeah, he's never stopped talking about it, to be honest. I would if I'd scored that goal. It's a great goal, wasn't it?
Yeah. You said it was the best goal you've seen.
Yeah.
I mean, even you've scored a few, but nothing quite like that.
Yeah, one or two free kicks, but not. That was with his left foot running away from goal. It was a great strike. So that might be the little bit of a spark that we need to give us the belief that we need. It's been a tough period, but we're working really hard. The players have been working their socks off, and they're desperate to put it right.
How pleased have you been with Liam Kitchen of late? And do you feel centre-back is his better position than left-sided defender?
He's definitely, I asked him to do me a favour against Carlisle. Would he play against Carlisle as a left-back? Because I thought we needed to put a bit of experience in the back four. And as much as he'll tell you he'll do it, he wants to be a centre-half. And that's position. And he's done great. And there's a lot more to come from him, I think.
Yeah. There's a stat that's come out this week that you've got I think it's the youngest team in the EFL.
We've given the most minutes to young players in the whole of the Football League, yeah, which is another good stat for us, but it doesn't mean we win games, and that's what supporters want to see. They're not worried about player development. They want to win games of football. We have a way of doing things that we want to try and win games, and we want to produce young players.
Yeah. At the start of the season, most people would have probably tipped Walsall to go straight back up. Have you been surprised at their struggles in the fact they've got a really good manager in Darryl Clark?
No, because when you get relegated, it's really difficult. and obviously there was problems there last year as well, and they've had to have a big clear out, getting loads of new players, and it takes time. Like I say, to have success, you need a sound base to build from. Like a house, you have to build from the bottom up, and I'm sure, given time, that Darryl will get that one right, like he did Bristol Rovers.
Yeah. What do you expect from Darryl Clark's side on Saturday?
They'll be up and at them. They'll be organised. And like I say every week, they've got some pace in good areas, and it's like I say every week, it's a tough game. We have to play well. We have to concentrate on what we do. If we do that well and well enough, then we have a chance to win.
Yeah. Just finally, there's been a few managerial casualties last week. I can list Gary Bowyer, Paul Hurst, Colin Calderwood, and in fact 13 managers in League Two have lost their job this season. What are your thoughts on that?
Going back to the question I've just answered, that if you are going to have success, I think you have to have time, and you have to understand there's going to be bumps in the road. Look at Man City now. Everyone's talking about there's a crisis at Man City because they've lost a couple of games and so many points behind Liverpool. It's football. It happens. You can't win every week, and you could easily find them bounce back and go and win the Premier League next season. So whoever it is, whether it's Pep Guardiola, Jurgen Klopp. So Jurgen Klopp's in his 4th season, is he? He's going to win the Premier League, but it's took him 4 years. So you need time. It's not a quick fix. You need time. Unless you've got lots and lots of money and you can get the best players, you need time to build, and that's, unfortunately, a lot of clubs don't give the managers that.
Yeah. Just want to talk about home form. Your away form's been pretty much up there all season. How do you sort of transfer that away form into the home form? Because there does seem to be an issue here at times.
Yeah, there's no beating about the bush. It's not a good atmosphere for the players to play in. There's a lot of negativity I spoke about that last week. You go to Grimsby and you see the positivity from everybody at the club. They're all together. And at the end of the game, if they're not happy, then they'll have their say. But I don't understand how, if you're a supporter of a club, you would want to boo your team during a game, because it is so counterproductive. Do it at the end, not during. So that has an input. Teams come and have every right and sit in against us and make it difficult and play on our nervousness at home and waiting for us to make a mistake. And the pitch is not great. So they're not excuses, they're facts. And we need to be better as a team, individually, collectively.
Yeah, your players are young men. How do they cope with that pressure? Do you just tell them to block it out if they're hearing a boo, and do they just get on with their game?
You can tell them that. Whether how do you do that unless you play with earmuffs on? It's a difficult thing. So I'm not sure how many home games we have left. Let's hope that everybody can get behind the players. If they want to shout at anybody at the end of the game, shout at me, which they usually do. So, but let's get behind the players. Let's support them and see if that can help us to get a few results.
Okay, cheers, Mark. Thank you.